Imagine this. Washington, D.C., a city usually charged with political tension, spotlight battles, and high-stakes posturing, suddenly transforms into a stage for something entirely different. No politics. No speeches crafted in war rooms. No partisan warfare. Instead, an unexpected moment of unity, global energy, and a display of Canadian confidence unlike anything the world has seen recently. And right at the center of it all, MarkCarney. Now, you may think you know what to expect from a World Cup draw ceremony. Excited fans, dramatic matchups, maybe a few celebrity cameos. But nobody expected this, a night where diplomacy, sportsmanship, and global attention collided, and where MarkCarney didn't just show up, he owned the room. So let me ask you right at the start, did you ever imagine MarkCarney would walk into the FIFA 2026 World Cup draw and completely transform the atmosphere? Because that's exactly what happened. And the reactions, especially from a certain American president, well, let's just say they made the moment even more unforgettable. As Carney stepped onto the stage, as one of the co-hosts representing Canada, something remarkable unfolded. He wasn't stiff, formal, or wrapped in the usual diplomatic caution. He was relaxed, confident, even joyful. And if you know anything about rooms where both world leaders and global media converge, you know exactly how rare that is. And yes, Donald Trump was in the room. Watching. Observing. Probably not loving the fact that, for once, he wasn't the gravitational center pulling every camera, every eye, every whisper toward him. Because on this night, Carney's presence outshone everything else. Right from the beginning, Carney set the tone. His message was simple, but powerful enough to resonate across the entire arena, and soon, across the internet. He reminded everyone that Canada isn't just opening stadiums for the World Cup, it's opening its heart to the world. He spoke of diversity, of the passion kids across Canada feel for the game, and why this FIFA World Cup will become the most inclusive, ambitious, and globally exciting tournament North America has ever hosted. This wasn't a rehearsed shell of a speech. This was Carney being exactly who he is at his core, global, unifying, thoughtful, and grounded in the values Canada stands for.
To co-host the World Cup for Canada. Oh. Difficult question, I know, but...
It is the biggest of deals, Gianni. You know, it's the #1 sport for Canadian boys and girls. 2/3 of the country watched the last World Cup. And we are partnered with the United States and Mexico, welcoming the world. There's more than 200 nationalities in Canada, more than 200 nationalities in FIFA. The top 48 are coming to North America. It is going to be the biggest deal ever.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
And then, the moment millions had been waiting for, the actual World Cup draw. The drama. The tension. The reveal. Carney walked forward with the steady confidence of someone who has spent decades commanding attention in rooms filled with the most powerful people on earth. He reached into the bowl, pulled out the ball, cracked it open, and revealed Canada. The arena erupted. The smile on his face. Pure authenticity. A proud nod, a small breath of excitement, enough to let the world know that this was more than protocol. This was personal. And in that instant, Carney wasn't the economist. He wasn't the prime minister. He wasn't the statesman. He was simply a Canadian, celebrating the moment with millions of fans worldwide. It was an image destined to explode across social media, lighting up screens in homes from St. John's to Victoria.
Mr. Carney, do you want to start? Don't forget, and pick the right ball, please. Already chosen. Okay, let's see which team will be drawn by Mr. MarkCarney. Oh, Canada! Oh, congratulations. Canada, ladies and gentlemen, the first team drawn in this World Cup. Group B1 for Canada, by the way.
But the night didn't peak there. Not even close. Because after the draw, Carney stepped before the media and delivered the kind of speech that, let's be honest, very few political figures today are capable of pulling off. He opened with humor, poking fun at Vancouver weather. He bonded warmly with First Nations representatives, acknowledging their central role in both the event and Canada's cultural identity. And what was remarkable was just how human he was. No stiffness. No robotic delivery. No overly polished, consultant-approved phrasing. Instead, he connected with people from every background: reporters, fans, diplomats, First Nations leaders, American and Mexican officials, effortlessly. He honored Indigenous communities with sincerity. He thanked international partners with warmth. He even teased himself for wandering away from the script, because yes, he actually did.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Bonsoir tout le monde. We represents our diversity, represents our values. This weather represents our climate. It will not be like this in June. In June in Vancouver, don't worry, it'll be raining in Vancouver. Mayor Sims is here. We're just kidding. It'll be beautiful. It'll be fantastic. Thank you for being here. I'm going to do a subset of the acknowledgements. I do want to acknowledge the representatives of the Squamish Nation who are here this evening, and the Tsleil-Waututh Nation as well as the Mississaugas of the Credit. Secretary Burgum, thank you for making the time and being here with tonight. And thanks for your services. Governor, a great border state of Canada, a good friend of Canada, and thank you for what you're doing in the administration. Sherpa Van Couverden, thanks for winning a gold medal for Canada. Thank you for doing your service in the cabinet. Sherpa from Mexico, thank you as well for being here, everyone, tonight. I do want to just linger, though. Victor, there we go. We've got Canada's man at FIFA.
But then came the moment that everyone in the room, and soon everyone on social media, would be talking about. Carney shared a playful, unexpectedly revealing story about a small exchange he'd just had with Donald Trump. It involved Paraguay being placed in the US group. The story was funny, light-hearted, and delivered with Carney's trademark charm. But there was something deeper at play, a contrast. Trump tends to dominate rooms through force, volume, presence, and sheer insistence. Carney, on the other hand, dominated this room without even trying, through humor, intellect, and social ease. The difference? Impossible to miss. Especially for Trump, who was standing just feet away.
Now, I'm just going to actually mention something that there was the draw and the names of all the teams and everything, and the President Sheinbaum and President Trump and I were talking as the draw is coming up. I don't think they'll mind. Gianni might mind I tell this story, but I'm going to tell the story anyway. It's too late now. I got to tell the story. And Paraguay comes up. Paraguay gets picked. And I said, well, Paraguay, they're good. They're good. But don't worry. Don't worry, President Trump says, okay, so they're good. And I said, but don't worry, they're not, no, they won't be, because they're supposed to be, you're D, so they'll be in C. And then one of the rules kicks in and they get moved over to D. So Paraguay's in the U.S. And the president's like, well, that's not good. And I was like, don't worry, these are just recommendations. We have to sign off on them. Gianni was not, he didn't find that as funny as the rest of us did. And the way the president sometimes gets something in his mind, he kept coming back to that as we were going on. So look at the draw as being indicative. It's indicative, the draw is. This is about the beautiful game. It's about the world coming together, sharing values. It's about peace as well, and that's true. It is such a unifying event. It is also about winning, though, and there is an element of winning. And so my last acknowledgement I want to make before I go into my 20-minute speech is of the ultimate winner in my lifetime, which is Wayne Gretzky, the great one. Wayne, thank you for being here. Janet, the greater one, for being here. Their son, Tristan, the next one, thanks for being here as well, though. But in all truth, if you grow up in Canada, certainly if you grew up as I did in Edmonton, and you saw just commitment, excellence, day in, day out, whether it was an exhibition game or a final game of the Stanley Cup, the class and leadership, and that these are the values that come down. I'll say one other thing. Say one other thing in my acknowledgments. I'll just make one other point before I go into the speech, which has been carefully prepared and went off script. But just a sign of the ties between our nations. Our coach, Jesse Marsh, who is here, one of the great American soccer players, and there he is. Just out of eyesight, and dedicating to Canada. And you will find no fiercer patriot than Jesse. Canadian patriot for Jesse, to be clear.
And just when the room was still recovering from the laughter, Carney did what few leaders can do. He shifted effortlessly from humor to depth. From playful banter to genuine emotional resonance. He began telling a story many Americans didn't know, and many Canadians sometimes forget. The story of the Halifax Explosion. The tragedy. The devastation. The loss of 2,000 lives. And the unexpected, extraordinary generosity that came from Boston before Ottawa could even respond. Doctors. Nurses. Supplies. Compassion delivered across borders in Canada's darkest moment. Carney didn't embellish or dramatize it. He didn't need to. He simply spoke the truth. And the room fell silent. Because this wasn't a history lesson. This was a reminder of what actually binds nations together: friendship, kindness, gratitude, and shared humanity.
Okay, but why are we here? We are here to light this tree. And I'll just say a few words about this because not everyone knows the full story of this. The story of this tree began in a tragic moment in Canada's history, 1917, and the Halifax Explosion. A steamship loaded with explosives collided with another ship. It caused the largest non-nuclear explosion ever seen, or felt, I guess, unfortunately felt. 2,000 people died, hundreds more brutally injured, blinded by the glass. And what happened, and it has to be said, before Ottawa could respond, that's all changed now, but before Ottawa could respond, the people of Boston responded. They got a train, doctors, nurses, medical supplies, food, and they made it to Halifax to begin the rebuilding and treat the wounded. And that's friendship, unsolicited, outpouring. And the people of Halifax, people of Canada, have not forgotten that kindness. And ever since that moment, a tree has been sent to Boston, and it's lit there. And a few decades later, the tradition began here. It's also true, I think I'm right in saying, no one checked their phones, that you have the highest concentration of Boston Bruin fans in Nova Scotia in Canada. This is true. This is true because of that reach out. So this is a tradition that's existed for generations, and we're all privileged to be part of it. Et il y a un conseil de sapin. Un conseil de sapin de Noël de Nouvelle-Écosse. C'est un grand job au Canada. Et le conseil de sapin commence leur recherche 6 mois avant que ce événement, de trouver le meilleur arbre pour Washington et Boston. Et il y a des familles à partout de Nouvelle-Écosse qui essayent d'être choisies. D'avoir leur arbre d'être choisi. And this year's choice of the Tree Council comes from the DeLong's family farm in Lunenburg County on the south shore of Nova Scotia. A great place to holiday, I might add. You know, the holidays bring in to perspective the ties that we have, the ties of families, the ties across borders, the ties of friendship, and the common values that we share. And I can think of no better event to bring together the values that football represents, the beautiful game, the values that the holidays represent, and the values that Canada, the United States, and Mexico share. We will be welcoming the world in the shape of 45 teams. We've already welcomed ourselves. We'll welcome 45 teams. We are looking forward in Canada, assuming that the draw stays the same. Gianni might have missed that bit of the speech. Assuming the draw stays the same, Canada will be welcoming Qatar, which put on an absolutely extraordinary World Cup just under 4 years ago. Well, 3 years ago, I guess it was, right? 3 years ago exact, yeah. I had the privilege of being there and had the privilege of seeing Alphonso Davis's goal. Yeah, Yo is right. That's what I said. Actually, I didn't know my Apple Watch could go to 200 beats a minute, but it did when it went in. But we're welcoming Qatar, Switzerland, and a team to be determined later. That could be Italy. Could be Italy. Could be Wales. Could be Northern Ireland. Could be Bosnia. Right? Wow. Okay. Whoever shows up, they're going to be fantastic. And we look forward to welcoming everyone.
This night wasn't about a politician attending an international event. It was about a leader showing the world exactly who Canada is under his guidance. Confident. Respected. Welcoming. Humorous. And grounded in the values the world admires. And yes, Donald Trump saw it. He saw Carney command the room in a way he rarely, if ever, can. And whether he'd admit it or not, the contrast stung. Because here's the truth. Some people fight for attention. Others simply earn it. MarkCarney earned it. Canada, in that moment, stood taller. And the world noticed. Now let me ask you. Did Carney's presence at the FIFA draw surprise you as much as it surprised global audiences? Do you think this moment marks a shift in how Canada is seen internationally? And do you believe Carney's leadership style is exactly what Canada needs on the world stage right now? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most unexpected and talked about moments of the year, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the stories the mainstream media overlooks. Your support is what keeps this channel growing, and I appreciate every single one of you watching.